What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814EDC, and today I'm doing my last full review of the Axial Gear knives that I have in. And I saved this one for last because this one is, out of the three that I had, my favorite. I carried this the most, and I really have grown to appreciate this knife a lot. Without further ado, this is the Axial Gear Enzi. This is, along with their fixed blade, one of their newest models. And this thing is a fantastic knife, guys. It is definitely on the smaller side, but overall, I just think it looks great. I think the materials you are getting are awesome, and the price point is really good too. So, we're gonna dive right into materials. So you have a full tie build with a loop over style deep carry clip that, in my opinion, could be a little bit shorter, but it works well. Just needs a little bit more tension. This is a flipper only knife, frame lock, with a very beautiful looking Warncliffe style blade. Probably my favorite thing on the knife is just how I love this blade shape. You can see the Axial Gear logo right there with the 3 slots that go on top of the blade. Again, that is Axial Gear's calling card, and this version is in 20 CV. Well, I say this version, but this is the only version available with this knife, so you're getting 20 CV. And then the titanium looks to be like some sort of bead blast, but it has a good texture to it. You have a backspacer back here. For internal milling, you have 3 pockets on the show side, and then on the lock bar side, it looks like you have a big long pocket and 1 more pocket on the back. And then this is a reversible clip, so you could slide this over here. However, this pot clip, or the ready version carry, is recessed down into the scales with countersunk screws, and they don't do that on the other side. I would have liked to seen them do that and then add like a filler tab, because that kind of sucks. Like this is Kevin's knife, he's a lefty, and if he wants to carry a lefty, he can do that, but it's, kind of sucks that he doesn't get the same fortunes of having a recessed into the scale with countersunk screws. That kind of defeats the purpose of it, in my opinion. They could have easily milled that out and tossed in a filler tab, but to each their own. So I think that's all for materials. I don't think I'm missing anything. This is satin, obviously a satin blade, and then it is on bearings. So jumping right into action, the action on this knife is frankly just fantastic. I was really intrigued by it when I first saw it, and then I think the first person that got it in was Chris over at Grady's Gear, and he made a post about it on Instagram, and he said how good the action was and how smooth and drop shutty it was. And for a blade that is, I think, 2.8 inches long, that's impressive. Detent is fantastic. You guys can see right there that it's just super smooth, drops to my nail, and then all it takes is a couple small, basically micro shakes, and it falls home. So, or you can drop it to your nail and then do one big shake and it clanks home as well. But you guys can see the detent is, I mean, I can't even get it out here just by pulling. Yes, I can, but it's hard. You have to basically pull it out, and you guys can hear it snapping back into place. It's not as loud as I thought it would be, but it's a very snappy detent. Sometimes if you get your one of your fingers on the lock bar a little bit too much, it is going to cause pressure, and you are going to, like I just did, kind of fail. Try to do it again. Yeah. Now that I'm trying to do it, I can't do it. But sometimes, because there isn't a whole lot of jimping on the flipper tab, you do have like 3 cutouts right here, but it's not the most aggressive thing in the world. I would have loved to seen them kind of bring it up over top of the flipper, so you could get really good purchase. But sometimes I'll just like slide right over it and the knife won't deploy. But as long as you're kind of conscious of where you're putting your fingers and you're not just like really squeezing down hard on the lock bar, it's going to be reliable every time. And the detent is just super dialed for this thing. It's super snappy, comes flying out of there. I don't know if Kevin took this apart. It wouldn't surprise me if he did, because he takes apart everything he gets in. But if he did, then that's why there's no lock rock. But if he didn't, then Axial Gear has some great tuning people over there for disassembly and for reassembly. But very snappy, falls to your nail, shake once, twice in your home. The lock bar cutout is fantastic. You have great access there. All you gotta do is just hit it with the corner of your nail and it drops right home. I fidgeted with this a ton. I've carried it, I think I carried it, you know, probably close to 10 times, sometimes to work, you know, sometimes just around town. And I would fidget with it a ton at night in my room if I was doing homework, playing PlayStation, watching stuff, whatever I was doing. This was commonly one of the ones that I would grab to play with. So I think that should be a good, you know, a good thing for it. Obviously, just because it's, I mean, the action is so good, guys, especially for such a small knife. Because a lot of times when you get under 3 inches on a blade, not all the times, because there's plenty of small knives that have great actions, but they're more susceptible to not be so drop shutty just because there's not as much weight on the blade as there are compared to, you know, bigger knives, which makes total sense. So yeah, action is just snappy, drop shutty, and smooth. So 2 thumbs up for me on the action department. Next up is ergos. And the biggest thing when I saw this right away was I was worried it was going to be too small. And I don't say that too often because you guys know me, I tend to sort of gravitate towards smaller knives. I have a decent amount of smaller knives in the collection, but there was just something about this in people's hands that I was like, that might be too small for me. And luckily it was not. I have this nice natural restriction point right here with the flipper tab. There is an indent right here for your pointer finger, and then it's flat, and then up top is just flat, straight back. You have no indentations, no grooves or anything like that. And I can just get 4 fingers on here, but I can, you know, still get a 4-finger grip. It's very comfortable. You don't have any jimping besides basically the jimping or the cutouts from their calling card sort of acts as jimping. And when I'm on when I'm in a saber grip and I'm kind of choked back per se, it's very comfortable. And when you could also use this, I don't know if they've intended for this to be a choil or what, but you can definitely use it if you're going to be doing more precise cuts and you need to be kind of very delicate with what you're doing. Choke up, your thumb lands up here on the blade, which the blade stock is definitely not the thinnest in the world for such a small knife, but it has a really nice landing area throughout the whole top of it. And then it comes down to a very thin edge, very slicey blade. But if you're choked up, your thumb will land out here. Excuse me. Super comfortable. The puck clip is great in the ergo department because it does not sit very proud at all. I would like for this ramp to be kind of tapered off a little bit more because you can kind of feel that if you're really, you know, gripping down hard on it. But, you know, it's kind of a minimal complaint. Nothing too big, nothing too huge there. But yeah, ergos are great for, again, a small knife, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. If you have, you know, I would say I have kind of largest size hands, definitely not small, but I wouldn't say that I have huge hands. They're kind of, I think I wore, like, the easiest thing I can compare to is like gloves. I think I wear a size large, but probably depends on the manufacturer of the glove and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is if you have bigger mitts than me, if you have huge, you know, bear paws, you're not going to be able to, you know, fit into this knife very well. So, but this would be, I think, a great knife for women just because it's small. It's really, you know, great ergonomically, very comfortable in the hand. And I think the titanium, it's definitely not like a super thin knife, which is nice because the titanium kind of adds like a contoured effect to it, which kind of makes it mold into your hands a little bit easier. So I think this would be a great option for, you know, your girlfriend, your wife, your sister, your daughter, you know, to carry in her purse, or, you know, if she carries a knife on her, that is awesome. This would be a fantastic offering and option. So next up is carry, kind of leads me right into it. And this thing carries phenomenally well. You have a loop over style deep carry clip that carries, I think, past the butt end of the knife. So this thing's, you know, rides in your pocket very, very well. I did mention earlier, I wish the pocket clip was shorter. I don't like when they have pocket clips that take up like half the knife. Just something about that bugs me. I think they could have easily shaved off, you know, some of this and landed it right after the relief cut there, but that's just me being nitpicky. But it's very lightweight. I mean, you have a lot of internal milling going on that makes this even more lightweight. Excuse me, I just choked on my spit. Than it already is. But I mean, it just, like carry is like a dream. You do have the flipper here, obviously, but as I mentioned earlier, the jimping is not aggressive at all. It is not going to tear up your pocket, not going to, hit, catch your hand on it or anything. If you happen to go down in to dig out something, you're just gonna, touch it and bounce right off of it, which is awesome. I carried this, I think, in my back right pocket of my shorts one time, and then I carried this a lot in my jeans in my right pocket. Carries well. Again, I think I said I carried it at work, which I did. Carried super well there too. So I had, really no complaints besides the pot clip being a little bit shorter. And maybe having it a little bit more retention too. It's very easy to pop this up, which out of all the knives I've handled this is one of the easier ones to do that. So a little bit more tension would be definitely advised. That way it doesn't come out of your pocket super easily, but I didn't have that issue. So take that with a grain of salt, but carry is awesome. And when you get a knife that is has a blade length of 2.8 inches, it's very small. I mean, this thing can basically disappear into my hand practically. You have a little bit sticking out, but like this thing is nice and small and compact and super easy to carry. So that leads me to my final category of price point and what I recommend this knife. So according to the website, this knife goes for $189, and I think for titanium 20 CV, a really nice Warncliffe style blade, nice loop over style deep carry clip, very lightweight, very easy to pocket, very easy to manage. I think that's a great price for it. Again, if you guys have caught my first two Axial Gear videos, you have heard me talk about the coupon codes that Cole, Chris, Jake, and Kevin have. So if you want one of those, you can go check out their channel and find it. So that'll probably take you down to like $165, $170, give or take. And that makes this price even more, awesome, hard to beat in my opinion. Now this is not made in the USA, so very similar to the Alpine fixed blade that I did my full review on. I mentioned that they are trying and in the process of, I believe, of bringing over more machines, more tools to make these fully made in the USA, because as of right now they are made in China. This and the fixed blade, the OTF, the shift, is made in the USA, but I don't know what OEM this is from. Maybe Wii. I think when Kevin got it in and checked it out, he said it feels like a Wii knife. But to be honest with you, Chinese OTMs are kind of killing it nowadays. I mean, you have Wii, who does a good job in my opinion, besides their detents and their bead blast. You have Kubi, who is doing a really good job. You have QSP, which is doing a fantastic job, very close to Riot level of quality. And then you have Riot, which is kind of the king of the Chinese OEMs, and has been for a little while, but I think QSP is definitely creeping up to them, and I think that they're all doing a really well done job. So I don't know which one made this, but it's definitely, and you also have Kunwu, which is, I've heard really good things about too. So whoever made this one, they did a great job. Fit and finish was awesome, tolerances are awesome, and this knife is awesome. So I would love to add one of these to my collection, excuse me. I have other stuff I'm chasing right now, so maybe in the future this would be a really good option. For me, I already know that I love it. It would get a lot of pocket time. It crossed my mind of maybe, like, this would be a great knife, I think, for my dad, because it's very affordable in my opinion, but he said that he enjoys smaller knives as well, so that crossed my mind for maybe in the future a gift for him. But there's so many knives in the market that I would like to get him, and I think that he would enjoy. So, but this is definitely a very high quality piece. It's really well done, well made, and I think that Axial Gear has an absolute winner on their hand. Can't talk tonight, but I can't wait to see what else they come out with in the future, because this is their first folder, guys. I mean, and it's beautiful. It's so well done. It's fun to play with, fun to fidget with. Detent's fantastic. It's a great cutter. And for this being their first model, like I can't wait to see what else they come out with and what other designs they have, drawn up and produced. And I think that they have, I really enjoy that they, because they kind of had this niche fixed blade. They kind of had this niche, kind of cut out into the community that they were beginning to make bigger and bigger with, very affordable, made in the US OTFs that I think people were buying over Microtech, over Guardian Tactical, over Heretic. So it's cool that they kind of digressed into not just making OTFs, but they added to their catalog with a folder with a fixed blade. They also have a pry bar, which I need to do a review on. I also have their titanium toothpick that is on my keychain. They have a lot of different cool offerings, but it's cool that they're not just an OTF company. It's great that they're branching out, that they're wanting to add different things to their catalog and, kind of push in different directions. And I have to applaud them for that. So, and I'm really glad they did, because I think the Enzi is a fantastic knife. But that is all I have to say, guys. I'm starting to ramble now, and you guys probably don't want to hear me do that. So this was my full review on the Axial Gear Enzi. Just a super rad flipper, warranty, titanium 20CV, just an awesome knife in general. So I will leave a link to this down in the comments below, or down in the description below. Please go check it out if you're interested. And if you're going to buy one, don't forget to use one of the 4 coupon codes between Lefty EDC, Tri-State EDC, Bearded Gear, and Grady's Gear. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me stumble over my words. I love you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.